Good morning, and did you buy the dip? Well, I certainly did. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the moves I made today. As crypto is crashing, it's going crazy down. This, oh boy, we got we got a real bloodbath on the market here today. Bitcoin at around 100 and just under 106,000, and that's after a nearly 1% recovery. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Chat is really quiet this morning so far, but hopefully get a few more people in. Got some viewers on Kick, which is kind of nice to see. If you're not following me on Kick already, please do so. Please hit that follow button. Trying to grow that a little bit more. Cloudy Vibe saying GM, my guy. Appreciate it. Alex saying greetings. Welcome. Good morning. Nice to see people in the chat. Ooh, the video's looking really good today for some reason. You just never know. It's really sharp, which is great. Yeah, so, and by the way, my stream is always, it always says the wrong thing on the chat. I think it just doesn't refresh for some reason, but it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of technical challenges with it. We just hit, I will say though, Bitcoin just hit over 106,000 now, definitely recovering. So I'm feeling good about buying that dip. We will get into the markets in a minute. Very interesting Algorand week. We had a video about Algorand Foundation structured selling and how much that is going on. We might dive into that a little more today. We'll see. Let's see. Green Blue Algo saying someone texting me about having difficulties depositing into Coinbase. Interesting. I had some dry powder on Coinbase, so I didn't have a problem. I definitely was able to make some buys this morning, which was nice. Good time to do it. It looks like we can get into the markets in a second. And then yesterday we had Deck from Ghetto Pigeons on the show. I'm actually setting up some more interviews, so keep an eye out for those. You can go back and watch that. I try to keep them like, I think that one was like 35 minutes or so. So they're not like super long. I'm trying to keep them kind of snappy. Unless we have a ton to talk about. I got some big interviews lined up. Try to get the Alpha Arcade folks on. Working with John Allen Woods, we've been discussing that for about a month. I swear, the people in the actual crypto ecosystem, it's so hard to get them. It's easier to get builders on than it is like the people in these big chains and the foundation and other stuff, because I don't know, they have to go through all these layers of approvals to. It's like, just let the people speak, man. That's what I think anyway. Boy, the views are really pouring in. Nice to see that. So thanks everyone for tuning in. This is awesome. Getting the spam on Kick. If you're watching on Kick, leave me a comment, because I can see those comments and I love to react to comments. It's a lot of fun. And so, in fact, if you're watching, well, you can watch on YouTube. That's fine too. I believe you can gift subs on Kick right now if you're interested in that, and you can be at the top of the leaderboard. I will definitely give you a shout out. Super chats available on right here on YouTube as well, and I think you can actually gift subs on YouTube. I don't know how to do it, but supposedly you can. Alex saying grabbed my last pennies together and bought the dip. So did I. Definitely bought some dips. GM Frugal says Fisherman, welcome to the show. Speaking of interviews, definitely want to have Fisherman on again. We'll be doing that maybe in November if you're up for it. So let me know. And then Jaws probably laying low, stacking sell token. We've been talking about it. So we've been talking about it for about a month now. He was on vacation when we first talked about it. So I really would love to have John on. He's always a great interview. Now at Trillion, the privacy coin, which I know he's a big privacy coin guy, so that makes sense. Oh yeah, one thing I really want to talk to him about, he's kind of going backwards in terms of market cap, which I think is interesting. It's like, I feel like he's making challenges for himself. You know what I mean? Which I think is cool. Started out at Ethereum, going down to Cardano, then to Algorand, now to Trillion. So let's talk about today anyway. I really highly recommend check out that after the stream, check out that replay of the Ghetto Pigeons interview, because the reason I like doing them is I think it's really interesting to talk to people actually building on the chain and getting a sense of how it's working. So I think that was really fun. Before we get to the rest of the show, I want to give a shout out to Haystack, our sponsor today and sponsor of the channel in general. Makes trading, it's like trading made easy is the tagline, and I'll tell you, it's so easy to trade things, do little swaps on Algorand. So if you're looking to be a trader, this is the app to do it right on your mobile phone. You can get it on the App Store or the Google Play Store. And if you do referrals, first off, if you're going to check this out, please do check it out with my link, and I will get the referral credit for that. And then you can make referrals to other people too. So, by the way, you actually can use it in the app. You can connect your wallet up there. You can make swaps right in here, and then get some analytics of who's doing a lot of volume. You can see who the big traders are. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Dragonfly, big trader in Algorand. Look at Trillion going to town. That's John Allen Woods right there, I believe. Pretty cool. Anyway, so that is the Haystack app, and you can check out the link in the description. Check it out on your phone. Download the app and get started today. And then we are also brought to you by Marcus Aurelius, my favorite meme coin on Algorand, because I've had a lot of behind the scenes talks with Marcus. I like how he's doing things. I like the way he's approaching the ecosystem, and he's spreading the wisdom about stoicism. I like that he's kind of built this narrative around, Marcus Aurelius versus Aurelius, Senecat, and Epictetus. So this is a really cool project too. Be sure to give them some love. We got links for all their stuff down below, so check that out. Otherwise, yeah, I guess we'll just get to the market. Throughout we can chat throughout the day. Let's see, we lost 4% and sitting at a 3.58 trillion market cap, very low. We are heavily weighted into Bitcoin now, and average RSI is getting to the oversold territory, but not quite there yet. But what we're seeing, this was 105 this morning. It was 105.8 right before I streamed, and now before I hit the start streaming button, now at 106.3 thereabouts. Almost a 1% recovery on the 1 hour, but we're down 11% per week. That is buy the dip opportunity in my opinion, because I think we still got a ways to go, but it depends on your strategy. My strategy is accumulation of Bitcoin, so I'm just going to keep buying Bitcoin when I get big dips, and these were definitely big dips worth buying on. Some stuff I'm not buying the dip on because I'm way above my accumulation target. But Ethereum is another long-term buy and hold. Even though I think technologically it's inferior to a lot of new options out there, you can't argue with network effects. You just can't. It'd be nice if you could, but you just can't. Let's zip down the list here. Look at it. XRP at around 228. Now I'm at a 53%. Sorry. I'm at a 53% buy thereabouts. So this is still way over for me. I'm not going to buy it. Same thing with Solana. I was buying when it was like 20 bucks. So I'm not touching Solana anymore. Just going to take profit on it. Wait for the next cycle. Let's see. Now, Hyperliquid, a lot of people talking about Hyperliquid, lost 20%. Chainlink lost 24%. But some, is that Alpha? Are you making the symbol for Alpha Arcade? I don't know what I see. It looks like a video game controller, green, blue, and a stop sign. I'm not sure. Is that, maybe you can tell me what that is. But definitely buying some stuff. Chainlink's still above my average buy, but it's down 24%. If you're looking for an entry, might not be bad. Sui down to 240. That was close to $4, I believe. At one point, most of my buys I think were around $1.50, so still above my average target. And Hedera down to below 16 cents. Now remember, Hedera actually had flipped Algorand in price. That is no longer the case now. Down 24% on the 7-day, 10% on the 24-hour. Still down on the hour, unlike a lot of other coins, which is interesting, isn't it? Let's keep going here. You know what? Maybe we'll go with the bigger one so you can see it a little better. We'll just move it over. Yeah, we'll just do it this way. What else do we want to talk about? There's a lot of these I just frankly don't care about. Here, Near Protocol. That is getting close to my, well, no, I think my average buy is like 114 on that or something. Something like that. Near is one of those ones. It was up almost around $7. Look how much it fell. That's crazy. Actually, that might be, I might have to go back and make that buy too. Ondo down to 69 cents. After the stream, I might have to buy some Ondo because I can lower my price target on Ondo quite a bit, or I should say lower my average buy. Polygon 18 cents. I've been debating this because my Polygon is more like at 80 some cents, 89 cents maybe or something. So I could lower that significantly. But I don't know. I don't have a ton of conviction on Polygon is the problem. Let's see. Pi is interesting just because like I mined Pi on my phone way back when it was a brand new project. And so I have like 300 some Pi or something like that. It was worth something. Now it's kind of worth, GameStop. Oh, I'm so stupid. I was thinking crypto. Yeah, GameStop. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Very interesting choice for sure. You know, Algorand sitting down 17% down, not as bad as some of the other coins. You know, I know a lot of people complain about Algorand, but it's holding kind of steady. I actually bought some more Algorand today, put it in my staking pool. Not a ton, just a little bit. A lot of my buys, I'm just doing a little bit right now. Cosmos to 315. You know, I remember last cycle, my Cosmos hit like $30 some. And so I'm looking forward to that again. We'll see. That's another thing I got to look into. I haven't restaked in a while. I've been getting, we're getting, and I don't know if that's still the case, but we're getting like 12% or something just by staking Cosmos. And VeChain working its way up. So is Sky. Apparently this is an RWA play. I don't know a ton about this. Pudgy Penguins. This one tends to pump. I would keep an eye out for this one. I'm not saying like that it has a lot of utility or whatever. I don't know much about that, but I've been noticing that one's been pumping. Yeah, XDC down 22%, way more than Algorand. Where's our troll Bobby Jonas? He's our big XDC fan. Won't be happy to see that. And just going through, seeing if there's anything else that looks relatively interesting. Some of these ones like the Graph, they've been around a while. Python Network, only at about 10 cents a piece. Tezos, that's an OG. Tezos is an OG. I had Tezos way back in the day. Actually, funny story. I switched my Tezos for Algorand way back in the day. Just because I was still on Coinbase. I was doing nothing but Coinbase at the time, and Algorand had a higher staking reward than Tezos, so that's why I switched. That was the whole thing. Yeah, Trust Wallet. What's in the, let's just go down just for the fun. Let's go down to the 200. I'm just curious what's in here. And remember Pendle? Pendle was always in the top 100. That's down. So is Sandbox. You just notice no one cares about the metaverse anymore. I think Dog with That at 50 cents. Whew. I actually bought a little more Dog with That just to lower my average buy on that. I just made a dumb play on that. Gala at 1 cent. Dang. Gala was the big play last cycle. But you know what? When you basically scam your users over and over, at some point your coin just becomes worthless. That's just the way it works. Got some Maple Finance here coming back a little bit. It's only down 1% on the week. That's crazy. That's an outlier. Just seeing anything with Decentraland. Yeah, you see these metaverse tokens just are falling down the market cap because I think everyone decided it wasn't that good of an idea anyway. I think digital assets for real world assets is one thing. I think, buying pretend, paying a lot of money for pretend digital space, maybe not. Yeah, Helium fell a lot. I'll tell you what, I'm a big fan of Helium Mobile, and I'm still a fan. It's like $20 a month for, covers all my needs, unlimited talk, text, and like 30 gigs of data. That's more than enough for me. I think the plans changed a little bit, but that's like a good. And then you used to get enough in rewards every month as long as you set the tracking that you'd actually get it free. For a while, I was getting it almost every month. My mobile was free, and now I've it's spun like 3 times in a row that I haven't earned enough to pay it off. I was hoping that this time, but not quite. Sorry, I realize I'm not showing it here. So sitting at $1.86 right now. It was like $3 or something. So yeah, I'm not gonna be paying that for a while. Compound. See, Compound is one of the projects here. I'll bring it up a little higher. Compound is one of the projects that actually led me to Algorand it made Algorand look really good because it's based on Ethereum, the EVM. And you try to do something on it and you just get screwed. You get eaten up by fees. You'd pay a bunch in fees and then the whole thing wouldn't work anyway. What a waste. So we're just going through the top 200. There's Metaverse X, Eagled, Multiverse X. Yeah, I remember when some of these were in the top 100. The BAT token, I probably have a bunch of BAT token because I use Brave browser all the time. Got no idea where it is. Oh, remember Axie? You guys remember the Axie Infinity game? There was like a whole ecosystem of like people who were buying the Axie Infinity NFTs and then basically like leasing them out to people in the Philippines so the Filipinos would play the game and earn the rewards, and then the owners of the game or the owners of the NFT would get a cut. It's super weird. FTT. Why does this one exist? This FTT token does not need to exist anymore. Just stop buying it, please. Now you can do what you want. I just think it's not smart. Been hearing some stuff about Plume lately. Interesting to see. Down 24% on the 7-day, but coming back on the hour. AMP. I still got a bunch of AMP somewhere. I just didn't really do anything. I've been getting emails about Electroneum. I have an Electroneum wallet somewhere in the Etherverse here. Yeah, some of the ones that I bought for the bull market bag, which I've gone through. I go through all those in my my channel membership videos. So if you want to check those out, you can get videos first before anyone else at the $1 tier, and then the $4 tier gets you exclusive videos. Been holding pretty steady on the tier 2 Frugalnauts. So you can join the Frugalnauts today. Just go to the join tab. If you join during the stream, it'll actually show up on the chat, so that's kind of cool. Okay, let's head over to, and then we might change views here. Actually, that's pretty good. I think we might hold that. I know we can't quite see everything. We can't see most viewed, but ooh, boy, what a bloodbath. What a bloodbath. I mean, so Polka Gold is now up 10% on the week, even though it's fallen a bit. Because I think that one's tracking just straight up gold, isn't it? I should probably look into that one more. Let me see. Let's look into it. Let's just do it on stream. Polka Gold is the first of its kind commodity that seeks to leverage the combined synergies of the Polkadot and Algorand community. Okay, not what I thought it was. Never mind. Yeah, even Liquihog is way down. Alpha Arcade under a penny. It hasn't been that way in a while. You can see that curve doesn't look so good. I just received some more alpha, which is going to mess up my experiment, but we got some alpha for doing that stream last week where I tried to beat the top score on Astro Explorer and didn't even get in the top 3. I was pretty disappointed. Oh, Voltcoin having a little turnaround. Actually not too bad on the week. Where's Everyday Algonaut at? He'd be happy to see that. Haystack, not looking so great, but nothing really is. Just looking at Vestige way up on the week. That's really interesting. Same thing with D-Algo. And then Orange. I didn't realize that Jeffrey in our chat, I don't know if he's here today. He's the guy behind Orange. I did not know that. It's been here for like forever. Never mentioned it. That's crazy. What is up? Algo Tardio is up 17%. So let's dive in. Can we see the chart? We're going to have to go zoom out a little bit. Look at that big giant candle on the 22nd of September. And we had another candle here on, looks like the 16th, which was yesterday. So I actually got a little bit of ATARD. If you guys don't know, this project was a complete rug, except the community took it over and kind of brought it back to life. Now let's go on the weekly and just see. So I mean, they kept it from like completely dying, but yeah, obviously, the funny thing is, I think the rug was like here, maybe not even there. I remember looking at it at the time, and the rug wasn't nearly as bad as you would think it would. Mr. Nobody Advanced Engineering, welcome to the show, says, I bought more alpha on dip and hay. I didn't buy any ASAs. I did receive some alpha, as I just mentioned, but didn't buy any myself, so. All right, back to here. Yeah, alpha took a huge dip. Why don't we dive into alpha, actually? So remember, a lot of my alpha I bought around this. When I started the experiment, I bought it around this level. So even with that big drop, I'm still up a lot. In fact, I can pull it off screen just to see. Oh, it's not going to be accurate anymore. Maybe I can, hold on. It might not be accurate, but I might be able to tell. No, Mr. Nobody Advanced Engineering says bank failures. Yes, there was some bank failures. Or at least, I don't know if it was failures exactly, but there was definitely some bank trouble on the horizon. Yeah, actually, I'm at 181, and that's even with the alpha I just received, so it's actually worse. Mr. Nobody says, yeah, had to rewind to catch up. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Did you do that? I do that sometimes with like the meetings I have to watch. I'll put them on like 1.25 or 1.5, and then eventually you catch up. So anyway, that is alpha. And the other one that's kind of doing okay here is deflationary Algorand, but that one dipped a lot. Let's see what we're on the daily chart. I talk about the boot pattern. This is pretty typical boot pattern. Seems to have recovered a bit, but it's short term, so we might see a drop there. Why don't we look at why don't we dive into the charts here on Algorand? I'm gonna guess we're pretty close to oversold. Not well, close. Oh wait, one more indicator. Yeah, we're right at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. That is usually a good time for a pump up. Not quite as oversold. It's sitting around 36, so that's pretty sold, but not quite oversold. When I see it at the bottom of the Bollinger Band and dipping below this RSI level, dipping below 30, is usually when you can pretty predictably see a pump up. Now that didn't happen here. We were actually already kind of in mid-level, so you just never know for sure. Even here, kind of touched that bottom, and we got a little bit of a pump up. So the market can be crazy. It's not always super reliable. You have to think of it as a percentage play that most of the time it's going to do that, but not always. So that's Algorand, and I'm going to take a wild guess and say H-bar stuff is looking similar, but let's see. Go to Salt. Oh yeah, just a bloodbath across the board. Gib is down 7%. Big one is Steam is down like 16. H-bar Sweet down 9%. Even Saucer Swap, I'm kind of a big fan of Saucer Swap, only 7.2% down. So it's quite a bit. Who's got the highest volume? Sauces definitely has the highest volume, followed by Dovu and H-bar X, then Pack. Yeah, by the way, we have the guys from Hashport are going to be coming on to talk for an interview next week. So stay tuned if you're an HBAR fan. I know I got some HBAR fans in here. You're going to want to check that one out. I think that should be fun. I'm trying to get more interviews in the Algorand and HBAR space, and I would love to expand out from there, but we're going to start with those and see how those go. Let's see. So yeah, not a ton to talk about. I mean, we can go, like I said, Steam doing the worst, and Tune FM only down about 2%, followed by Dovu at 4.4. But pretty much a bloodbath across the board from all the HBAR secondary tokens. I don't have a ton of these. I do have the sauce token, and it did pretty well. It did pretty well last cycle. Even that November, December pump that we had. God, that was like a year ago. It's hard to believe it's been a whole year. I mean, I thought we'd be shooting off. I didn't think we'd be dealing with these horrible dips. And there's definitely some credence to the idea that we're past the 4-year cycle. I think there's some truth to that. You know, there's some truth that this 4-year cycle might be broken, or at least stretched and elongated. And it seems like crypto is following more macro cycles now, you know, more of the macro of the rest of the economy. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. Anyone buy the dip today? If you bought the dip, let me know. Leave a comment in the chat. And that's regardless of whether you're in, regardless of whether you're in, I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, in YouTube or Kick or whatever, just leave us a chat. Oh, come on. Did it really like put my old... Hold on a second. Let's see. Alex has been holding Algo now for a year, 40,000 tokens. Just tired of this point. Yeah, me too. I mean, that's about what I have like sitting that isn't in other stuff. At least my altcoin to Bitcoin ratio is way lower now, says Green Blue. Bought AVAX. Oh, cool. Yeah. So I'm very confused because the old title... Yeah, it used my old one. Okay. Sorry, just some like... I'm just going to delete this one. Yeah, for some reason it's using my old title instead of my new one, which is really annoying. Well, I'm not even showing up on Live on X. That's really strange. I wonder why that is. I wish, I wonder if I can change the title. Yeah, that's what it should be. It should be on YouTube. The title is correct, but for some reason it's wrong on... I wonder if I can change the... Maybe I can do this. Oh, that's good. Let's see what happens if I refresh. Okay, fixed it. Had to fix it on X. Sorry. Thanks for hanging in, guys. Francine Cook, hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Says everyone is chasing AI, it seems. Well, I'll tell you what, AI is that's one of the things we're going to talk about today when we get to our Algorand segment, because AI is like going to dominate. I think it's one of the best potential use cases for crypto, because it just simply can't happen. Agent to agent payments simply cannot happen on traditional financial rails. It's just completely impractical. And so we'll definitely talk about that. Alex says, what are your thoughts on the 4-year cycle being broken? Because I agree with you, this cycle just seems bizarre. It's very bizarre. And there's a lot of evidence that, this old cycle is just done. We're seeing much more correlation with traditional macro indicators compared to other, just following the simple cycle. It just doesn't seem to be working that way. It is to an extent. So I think what I'm seeing, definitely the lengthening, each cycle has been getting longer and more shallow. And so that's something I would keep in mind for sure. Just want to see if this is actually, oh, this is the old one anyway. Wait, am I actually live on here? Hold on a second. I'm not even live on X. Hold on a second. Let's see if it works now. Well, it looks like we're not going to stream to... Oh, wait. It says streaming now. Did it work? Sorry, guys. I know this is probably not the most compelling content, but I'm like, yeah, there we go. We're back. Good grief. I tell you, technology, man. Technology. Well, at least we'll get this section. We'll be live and people can watch. So, yeah, what should we do first? Should we do, I got a Hedera, Chainlink, and Algorand segment to get through. So let me get some water here. Why don't we just do the Algorand segment? I think that'd be fun. Got a couple trickling in here. All right. Well, I definitely know what we're going to talk about first, and we will dive into that. So this should be a lot of fun. But as you know, okay, when I do my segments, if your comments are not related to the segment we're doing, then I will save those comments for after the segment. But otherwise, if they're related to the segment, I'll bring them up because I then clip these for YouTube. And that's big because I'll tell you, the audiences don't overlap a lot. There's a lot of people that only watch me on live stream and a lot of people that only watch the videos. It's very interesting, which makes sense. There's some streamers, I never watch their actual stream. I just watch, I just watch their YouTube videos after the fact. So, okay, so we're going to start the segment now. You guys know for a long time I've been saying that one of the biggest use cases for crypto is agent-to-agent payments, and I'm talking about AI agents, by the way. Algorand seems to be set up really, really well for agent-to-agent payments, and it just announced a huge partnership with none other than Google. So we talked about this. We talked about the partnership. We talked about the partnership with Google Cloud. Google Cloud mentioned Algorand as one of its key partners. There were other partners. Some of them were not mentioned in the actual. Some of them were not mentioned in the actual release. They were put as others, but in fact, we can see these right down here. Algorand has been added as a partner for Google Cloud Text Agents Payments Protocol, AP2. So we can just read, we should read this really quick before we get to the other one. Google developed AP2 to initiate and transact agent-led payments across platforms securely. Our blockchain's instant finality, low cost, and secure transactions make AP2-ready agent payments seamless across platforms. And that's huge in itself. But then we got this fellow mentioning, and I'm going to put my headphones on. We got the MD of Web3 and digital assets at Google Clouds, James Tromans, spotlighted a demo for the Algorand team showcasing agent payments in action. In case you missed it, Algorand recently partnered with Google on the agents payments protocol. We talked about these, right? So let's hear what he has to say.
I think that's where we're going to see it end. And I think actually some of the most interesting value unlock we'll observe will be in the B2B space. But of course, it's very obvious to us sat here today, even if you're not deep into AI or of course crypto, that you might want to pay for your Nike shoes. I saw a great demo from the Algorand team recently where you would be able to instruct your agent to go and do that for you. And that's something that you would probably do anyway. And it could be a holiday and it could be something else. And you can understand how you want to provide some guardrails for your agent there through digital payment credentials and verifiable credentials to make sure that you're signing for something that you actually intend to. And that's, you know, a consumer concern. I think that
there it was. You know, he mentioned Algorand while talking in front of a bunch of people. Now, did you see that in the corner? It said, live stream brought to you by the Solana company. You notice he didn't mention Solana, did not mention Solana agent-to-agent payments. He mentioned Algorand. Algorand is a primary partner. Now, Rudy Yuli, and welcome to the show, says, so is Algorand the primary partner with Google? It was definitely, as far as I could see, I believe it was the only blockchain. In fact, let's look really quick. Let's be sure about that because I want to be 100% sure. See if that was... I'm surprised they didn't share that one because it had... Let me see. Hold on. I really want to get this right because I think this is important. But Google... Go Google Cloud. Hopefully this is the one that mentioned it. Otherwise, yeah, here's the enterprise. I think this is it, isn't it? No, that's not it. Hold on. It looks very similar to that. It might be a little hard to find. Actually, I probably have it in my bookmarks. I gotta have it in here. I'm sure I do. Wait. Nope. Well, anyway, it looked very similar to that other one, but it was boy, that's annoying. I hate when you can't find stuff like that. Maybe it was on Google's main page. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they're one of the big partners. They were actually mentioned on that little graphic like I showed you on the other one. And they said other partners, and I think there are probably other blockchain partners besides Algorand. But Algorand, as far as I know, is the only one mentioned on there. And, you know, a big thing about that is that Algorand, you know, we had the CMO, Mark, who took a picture, showed a picture of, yeah, top and center, exactly, green, blue, exactly. They were top and center. We had Mark sharing a picture of him and some of the other Algorand folks like Min outside the Google headquarters. And a lot of people were like, wait, what is that all about? Well, now we know. This is what it's about. Pretty fascinating. So yeah, that's one of the things we want to talk about because I think the fact that they got mentioned there is a big deal. Now we covered that demonstration, by the way. I thought it was so cool. I mean, you just had the agents going and negotiating a price and then making the payment all without any human intervention. That's going to be a big deal going forward for sure. Now, I thought this was interesting. This is from D13, Algorand Sustainability Proposal, Backrun Only MEV. Now, if you don't know what MEV is, it's basically a way for a lot of people can kind of front run transactions and get, you know, big transactions and get profits. This one redirects those profits to block proposers and fee sync without harming UX. Here's the full demonstration. So let's consider an example of high value liquidation. These are usually made possible by price volatility and increase or decrease in the price of a collateral asset makes a loan bad, leading to liquidation opportunity to preserve the health of the lending market. From this point of view, the future proposer of the block that contains the liquidation, the first relevant thing that happens is that the leading lending platform's price oracle is updated. This transaction may already be followed by others, such as an unrelated USDC payment. With the first in, first out rules, the future block looks like this. Data price oracle, some USD transaction, more transactions. Liquidator has seen the price feed update transaction and composed their liquidation transaction, indicating that it should only be run immediately after the price feed update. The future proposer receives this and inserts it after the price feed update. So there's the price article, and then boop, there's the liquidate. This is a proposal. This is a proposal that's going to go on. The XGov is going to talk about this, so that's pretty neat, I think. Now, I'll be one thing I wish more people would do is say, well, this is what this means for the average user. This is what I guess what it does is, it's going to redirect profits to block proposers, stopping some of that front running from going on. So good proposal. We'll see if it actually makes it through. But moving on, we've got, I don't know if these graphics are distracting for you guys, but the new iOS Para wallet update is here, and the update brings a major update to our in-app swap, including redesigned interface, streamlined flows, and smart defaults for a smoother swapping experience. Fiat inputs, enter amounts in fiat by default for easier calculations. Swap history and top pairs. View your recent swaps or top trading pairs at a glance. Flexible routing options. Automatically get the best rates or manually select the preferred router via Para. That's the acronym. Rolling out on the App Store. Download now. So I will tell you, my phone is so old that I really can't judge it, but I'll say I was not able to complete a swap when I tried to on my phone the other day. So I'm a little disappointed by that, but I think that's just how it goes sometimes, because I have an iPhone 8, which I just cracked the screen on. So probably gonna have to update that to, I think I'm gonna go with a 12. I was a little bit behind. I find if you wait like a few generations, they tend to get like way better, and you get them for still a really good price. I think the iPhone 12 is like 175 right now. The mini has a bigger screen than my 8, so pretty cool though, huh? I mean, they're just always building, and I like that. They're always making new stuff, and this is what you want to see from your wallets. You really want them to take off. So very happy to see that. I gotta share that, by the way. Anyway, we got more because we got Algorand, Stacy Warden. I know I got some. I tell you, she's got some haters, man. She's got some haters. The whole foundation has some haters. Let's be honest. She's following me. I tried to get her on the show. She wouldn't come on. She's, I even said 8 Pro was the Zenith. Unfortunately, yeah, I know. The problem is I'm almost tempted just to get another 8, but the problem is they're just losing support for everything now. Also, I refuse to update, and so that's really screwing me. Anyway, Algorand Foundation CEO Stacy Warden spoke today at the Blockworks DAS with Strack Bend. In this clip, Stacy discusses the significance of Hasab Pay and the recently launched aid trust portal on Algorand. I will tell you what, Hasab Pay is easily the most underrated dApp on Algorand. It's basically PayPal running on Algorand for the Middle East, particularly for Afghanistan right now. But I think I actually think they're going to get more. I think they're expanding to more countries, and I think you can see Hasab Pay over here at some point. I really do. It's people are actually using it. Like, people are making, I think something like 50% of utility bills are being paid in Afghanistan through Hasab Pay. So I think they need to get that over here ASAP. But this is cool. But let's hear what she has to say.
I see that in practice at Algorand Foundation, maybe as you're kind of, welcoming traditional finance, but also, like you said, trying to keep that ethos of crypto.
Yeah, so we have a couple of products that, we work very closely with banks on, right? So one in particular, we do all of the kind of humanitarian aid payments into Afghanistan, right? And so this is a digital Afghani. We partner with a bank in Afghanistan. The Afghani central bank like keeps a very heavy, thumb on what is happening in and out of their country. Very, meanwhile, they're under sanctions, and so nobody wants to, save the children, or the UN, World Food Program, or whatever, has a hard time sending money into Afghanistan. But we were able to partner with banks and regulators and say, with Hasab Pay, it's not an Algorand company, it's built on Algorand, but they're their own company, of course. And they say, look, how don't we can show you where the money is going because this is on Algorand. Like, so they sort of in a backdoor way.
Hey, that's a really key point, by the way. That's not to be ignored. Like the transparency layer that you have with something like Algorand, it's actually really great for stuff like following the money, especially for nonprofits. Make sure you know where the money is going, and it would be great for governments too. I'm just saying, awesome for governments. Anyway, let's take it home, Stacy.
Showed the value of being on a blockchain because they had this like transparency on the ledger. And then we took it a bit further and said, okay, aid flows there's just, and President Trump complained, we shut down USAID, for example. So why don't we build an aid transparency portal on the back of it that's very Web 2, very easy to see. And so we, you can now kind of, and you can see where the flows go. Anybody can, And so it's like that kind of thing where you are using the technology of Web 3, but you're putting it in a little bit more of a Web 2 wrapper to make it easy for people, I think is the way forward. Absolutely.
Yeah, she mentioned that wrapper. I think what's really important is that a lot of these companies, they're not going to want to deal with the blockchain itself. They're going to want to deal with they want to do the front end stuff. They want the blockchain to just work. They don't want to deal with it. That's where I think Algorand could actually like come through and offer this as a service. Like this could be the big thing for Algorand to actually bring in revenue, and then they can start doing what Chainlink is doing and start taking some of that Algorand or some of that revenue that they're bringing in and start putting it into an Algorand reserve fund, just like Chainlink does. I think that'd be awesome. Let's see, we got more. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool. And by the way, it got almost, I think we had 30 some viewers at one point. I don't know how many we got right now, but only like 9 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button already, I would love you to hit that like button. If you're watching after the fact, you can do that as well. I think this is kind of neat. So this is Space Miner coming to the Realms, which, speaking of the metaverse, Realms is the metaverse built on Algorand, calling it a cross-chain virtual world. Interesting. I still haven't seen the virtual world part, but we're seeing some games on it, including this little Space Miner game coming next. Mine space rocks, bring them back to Earth, and trade them for Nico. By the way, speaking of games, we had Ghetto Pigeons founder on deck, and so you should check that out on the live tab. You can find that video. It was pretty interesting, I thought. Anyway, I don't know if you played any of the games on here. They got the zombie game, and then they got this fighting game coming next, and then they got this thing, and I don't know. It looks kind of neat. It looks like a space game, maybe a strategy kind of a thing. So, mine space rocks, bring them back to Earth, and trade them for Nico. I think this could actually be pretty cool. I don't know, guys. I think it could be pretty cool. But let's keep going here. Oh, this is old. Yep. So that is basically our Algorand segment for today. By the way, Green Blue Algo says, where does that money for the service go? Or are you doing charity work for these banks? What I think, yeah, no, good point. Well, that's what I think. I mean, I think Algorand should sell this as a service. They should sell crypto as a service, but kind of like Chainlink does. I mean, that's what Chainlink does. They've turned it into a business. Let's be smart, make it a business, and then your operations are sustainable. And then you know what? You don't have to dunk on holders. You don't have to keep selling on holders with the structured selling program, which is not helpful for people in Algorand. You know, it's just bringing the price down. It's adding extra sell pressure that we don't need. It'd be really cool if they were bringing in enough to fund their operations. So, cool. Yeah, thanks. That's our Algorand segment. Thanks for everyone tuning into that. We got Hedera coming up next, and we got here. I got to share this to fund their operations. So, cool. Yeah, thanks. That's our Algorand segment. Thanks. Just give me a second while I post this. In the meantime, you can leave questions. Tell me what you're buying on the dip if you are buying anything. Maybe you're not. Are you selling off? Let me know about that too. Let me know in the chat. We'll respond to that in a second. There it goes. For everyone tuning into. So I'm going to make sure we get that out there. Yeah, we're starting to build up that X audience now. I got some. My thread's really taken off. Good. That's fun. Been doing more threads on X. I kind of got the framework of it down now, you know, so it's kind of neat. Ooh. Let's go back. I think I'll do a little chain link next. How about that? How's everyone doing? Everyone's really quiet. We had a little spike in viewers for a little bit there, and that's cool. More the merrier. So come on in. Yeah, we had at least 31 at one point. In live viewers right now. Cool. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do so. I really appreciate that. If you haven't checked out our channel sponsors in the description, please do that. Give them some love. Go ahead and download that Haystack app, you know, use my link to download it. And otherwise, before we get to that, I just want to do another quick check of the market, see if anything interesting has happened. And yeah, actually, Bitcoin's now at almost 107. So boy, am I glad I bought that dip when I did. Almost erasing the 24-hour losses, still just a little under 1%, up 6.65% on the 1 hour. So we just keep moving back in the right direction now. Good to see. Good to see. In fact, I can show you guys this if you want. Here you go. Yeah, see, I'll back up to almost 107. That was 105 this morning when I bought the dip. Ethereum 2 coming back up. Rudy Yuli. I love that name, by the way. Algo is building some great foundations for future success. AI to AI payments is really promising, but Algo is burning through their reserves. They need income streams before they run out of rope. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. You know, if you guys get this, you guys take a page out of Chainlink's playbook and start offering this as a service. You know, say, hey, for X amount of dollars, we'll handle this all on the back end. Get you up and running with crypto. You don't have to think about the crypto because you know what? These companies, they don't want to think about crypto. They just want it to work. You know, it's just like when you use your iPhone, you don't want to think about the flash memory and all this other technology or, you know, the chips and all that stuff that goes on behind it. You just want to use the darn thing, right? That's what I'm saying. Algorand's got to do the same thing. You know, that's just bottom line. I mean, they got to start having some revenue coming in. And the fees ain't going to do it, man. They got like, you know, John Woods told me they were getting like $2 million in fees back in, was it a couple years ago? So I doubt it's changed. You know, maybe it's 4 million now. I don't know. I'd like to know what it is, but it's definitely not enough to sustain it, right? Anyway, I told you I'll buy the dip. I told you. Been telling you. All right, back to... Let's see which Chainlink thing I want to do. So like I said, when I do these segments, you know, I don't respond to chat unless they're absolutely relevant to what we're talking about. But I'll get back to your chats afterwards. Did I miss any? I didn't miss any chats, did I? I think you're all pretty much talking about Algorand. So, oh, Alex said agreed. Hopefully, with quantitative easing and more liquidity being brought in from the Fed Reserve will bring new money from retail, bring retail and new money. Sorry, I did miss that one. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna start the segment now, and I'll only respond to chat during the segment if it's directly related to Chainlink. So Chainlink has been on fire lately. They've had this huge Chainlink reserve that's just blowing up. Everyone's super excited about it because it's actually taking off-chain profits and putting it back into Chainlink. But what we want to talk about today is some Chainlink wins for Q3. Now, Chainlink put out this report, so you have to take that into consideration that it is Chainlink saying this, not like Masari or something like that. But I still think it's worth highlighting some of these wins in our Chainlink segment. So why don't we dive into exactly what happened in Q3. All right, so this is Chainlink wins Q3, right from Chainlink themselves. So like I said, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but this is what they're talking about. Partnered with the U.S. Department of Commerce to bring government macroeconomic data on chain for the first time. That's huge, by the way. That's just item number one. Working with the U.S. Department of Commerce. That's huge, okay? And you know what? You want this stuff to be on chain. I think it's, like I said, more government stuff in general needs to be on chain so it's more transparent. That's something I feel very strongly about. So yeah, I'm big on this. That's huge for sure. Adopted by leading financial institutions for a variety of tokenized financial use cases, including SWIFT, UBS, DTCC, Euroclear, and more. I actually covered the SWIFT and the DTCC news, so awesome to see that highlighted here. Big deal, for sure. Either one of these would have been huge Q3s in and of themselves. Introduced the Digital Transfer Agent, technical standard to enable existing transfer agents and fund admins to extend their operations on-chain to support tokenized funds. Launched DataLink, a new institutional-grade turnkey data publishing solution for data providers, already adopted by Deutsche Börse. I don't know what that is. I'll be 100% honest. I know Deutsche is, it's German something or another, but Börse, no idea. Börse? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Accumulated a growing total of 523,159 link in the Chainlink Reserve. Now, we talked about this Chainlink Reserve, which is a pretty recent announcement from Chainlink, but they're basically taking off-chain revenues and putting them on-chain so you guys benefit, holding them in reserve. So it's basically taking profits, funneling them into the coin, which I think is awesome. I think more chains should be doing stuff like this, but you have to have off-chain services first. It's a great idea, and I think it's awesome. Even on-chain services, you're still going to get revenues probably. They're probably going to come to you off-chain, right? Like if Algorand goes out and sells, crypto as a service, and they're going to get paid in US dollar. They're going to send an invoice and get a check probably, right? So they can funnel that back into an Algorand reserve, or at least to start with would be to stop the selling. But anyway, I think this Chainlink reserve is awesome. There is now over 500,000 link in the Chainlink reserve. That's quite a bit of money because I think Chainlink's what, $17 as we speak. That's a lot. If it's $20, that's like 200 million, right? Is that 20 million? I'm so bad at math. Never mind. No, that'd be like 2 million. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Released an updated. No. Yeah. 20 million. Okay. 10 million. It'd be 10 million because, yeah, never mind. Let's pretend I can do math in my head. Anyway, released an updated Chainlink Vision, the only all-in-one platform providing the key data interoperability, compliance, privacy, and orchestration requirements for institutional tokenization at global scale. I just love their focus on data and interoperability. This is why I love Chainlink. I think it's great. It's one of the most underrated projects in all of crypto, in my opinion. But that is not all of our Chainlink news. We have, this is from Kelp. The internet has made everything on demand from information to money. The next challenge, liquidity and credit. Global payments moves $220 trillion plus annually, yet trillions sit idle in pre-funded accounts. Stablecoins solve speed, not liquidity. Interesting. Yeah, speed, big problem here. And the flow of money too. When you say speed, I think they actually mean like velocity of money, which is a really important concept. The more money moves, the better. Introducing Cred, the Internet of Credit. At its core is KUSD, a fully collateralized rewards-bearing stablecoin backed by real-world payments. Colonel Dow's latest report by all those guys, with contributions from these guys, Ash Morgan, I don't know what that is, Ethereum Foundation Enterprise, and Chainlink explores how Cred can replace pre-funding with on-demand verifiable credit, unlocking $5 trillion in idle capital. Now, what does Chainlink have to say about this? It says they were highlighted in the new research report by Colonel Dow in collaboration with the Ethereum Foundation Enterprise. Chainlink provides the institutional-grade infrastructure that stablecoins require to meet the security, auditability, interoperability, I just say interoperability, and composability requirements essential for global payment applications. Chainlink isn't just providing data, it's architecting, that's a new one. It's architecting the trust layer for global finance. When Ethereum builds the rails and Chainlink verifies the flow, you're not watching a partnership, you're witnessing the foundation of the on-chain credit economy forming in real time. It had to go past the limit just to add that little link thing. That's funny. Just one more cool piece of news for Chainlink. Chainlink is like the background, the really, really important background layer for Web3. It's awesome. We got more, by the way. We're not done yet. Not by a long shot. SP Global Ratings and Chainlink brings stablecoin risk scores on chain. DeFi protocols and institutions can now access real-time stability assessments via Chainlink data. I want to read more about this because I'll admit I don't understand a lot of that sentence. Actually, maybe we should. S&P Ratings and Chainlink have partnered to deliver S&P Global Ratings stablecoin stability assessments directly on chain via Chainlink data link, according to a press release shared with BSCN. The integration makes real-time risk assessments of leading stablecoins accessible to DeFi protocols, lending platforms, and institutional investors for the first time. S&P Global Ratings SSAs evaluate stablecoins based on their ability to maintain stable value relative to fiat currencies. The framework uses a scale of 1 very strong to 5 weak and provides a deep, independent assessment of stablecoin stability. While these assessments are not credit ratings, they reflect asset quality, governance frameworks, regulatory compliance, liquidity, and redeemability. That's really awesome. So what I'm wondering, hold on, I got to check this out because is that the same as like the S&P 500? What are we seeing here? I mean, they got that right up here. Here's their collaboration, but is there like an about? Not really. I don't know if that's the same or different than the S&P 500, if it's related or not. So, is what it is. I think we got more Chainlink though, so let's stay tuned. We got more Chainlink. Chainlink Data Streams is officially live on Mega ETH as its first of its kind native real-time Oracle solution integrated directly with its execution environment to power next generation DeFi markets. Mega ETH Labs is delivering data streams to build the first real-time blockchain with 10 millisecond block times and 100,000 transactions per second. That's really fast. So I wonder how well that's going to work. I don't know a lot about Mega ETH. It's definitely interesting. You know, I'm going to follow it just because I think it's interesting, and maybe who knows? Maybe I'll look into it more deeply. But this is pretty interesting. That's some pretty fast 100,000 plus transactions per second would be a lot. The problem is a lot of times you don't have enough actual transactions to test this out. Algorand goes up to like, it's been clocked at over 10,000. Its theoretical limit is 10,000, but it's actually, we've had blocks with 15,000 already. So, 100,000 is a lot. That's a lot of transactions have to happen for that to be the case. And we kind of already talked about this news, so I guess that's pretty much it for our Chainlink. You want to see the price? We can look at the Chainlink price. Let's go take a look at that for a second before we conclude here. We're gonna have to go to full screen, I think, here. I said $17 before. It's actually $16.58 right now. This is the 1 year. If we look at the week, down a bit on the week, was up at around $21. So that's quite a drop. If you're looking for an entry on Chainlink, might not be a bad one, but I'll pull up the trading view too. I don't know if you guys gonna be able to see this. I might have to move this over a little bit. Yeah, you can see it. Let's pull up our indicators. I really love to put in relative strength and Bollinger Bands. Yeah, we see we had a bounce off of it. We were oversold. No, not a lot of, are we on the 4 hour? Let's get on the 4 hour. Yeah, still the same. We actually hit that oversold territory. So usually when you hit this, you get a nice bounce off of it. And that's kind of what we're seeing the start of, is that bounce off of dipping below the Bollinger Band. That's a good sign. When you dip below the Bollinger Band, that is a sign that you're about to pop up. You barely see it where it doesn't pop up quite a bit from there. So, you might not get back. That's the thing. You might not get back to levels, but if you're entering here, these are usually good entry points. Not always, but usually. Anyway, still an oversold territory, popping up just above that, what we'd really call oversold, usually about that 30. It's the reason why they have this purple zone here, is so you can see it pretty clearly. But that's what's going on with Chainlink today. So yeah, a big shout out to Chainlink, doing great stuff. Yes, the price is down right now, but that's usually because everything else is down. The macro conditions just aren't great. And a lot of stuff has crashed just because of the bank sentiment earlier today. So I'm still pretty bullish on Chainlink overall. All right, thanks for tuning in for our Chainlink segment. We got one more segment coming up, but before we do that, let's see. Jackson Crawford says, looks at XCL. Welcome to the show. And I only look at coins if you give me a good, compelling reason to do so. So just saying, look at it, not very convincing to me. And one day at a time, saying Algorand is such a boomer coin. Yeah, well, it's actually doing the really boring but important stuff that's makes a huge difference. Only in crypto would something 5 years old be a boomer coin. You kind of can't make that stuff up, you know what I mean? I got a couple of notifications. I'm just going to take a little break before we get to our last segment on Hedera. Anyway, Jackson Crawford says it's a privacy token that is launching 3 days, Monday the 20th, XLC. All right. Well, you made a case. I guess we'll look. I still think that's not really making a case. Like, why should I? We got privacy coins, so why should I care about another one? So it's not even going to be on here, right? No, it is on here. Are you saying it's going to be launching a privacy? Well, I will say that is quite a weekly dip, down 42%. So XLC, privacy is key to your assets. Your crypto protocol launches in 3 days. SLC train is about to take off. It's not coming back to these prices. Some people saying not enough exposure. A few YouTubers trying to hype it up. That's it. Well, interesting. I guess that's something you were interested. It's called XSeller is the whole name of the token. Where can you get it? You got to go through Uniswap or MEXC or OpenOcean. The only places you can get it. So, well, I guess if you want to be in on early or something, up 12x since launch. I see 116% on here. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take a little. Green Blue says, "Have my own bags, not buying yours."
A couple different things.
So I'm gonna take a little break before the Hedera segment. You can watch this. We'll watch Eleanor Tarot for a little bit before we come back. So just give me a little break here.
Cognitive dissonance, like they can't understand. And I think the conversation has advanced to the point where we are actually talking about in detail what control means, right? Like that's not what the conversation was 2 years ago. So there has been progress because of the industry's education efforts, but we still have a ways to go. I think one of the other biggest challenges is that when there are hacks and exploits, that tends to be the only thing that people focus on. They tend to only see illicit finance as like the only thing that needs to be focused on, right? Like this bill does so many things, and we are only talking about illicit finance and DeFi, which is like 3 pages of an 100 and something page bill. So it's unfortunate. Like I've had members of Congress's staff say to me that like they think DeFi is crime, and we have to like get past that part of the conversation to help people understand like DeFi is such a small segment of the overall crypto market. And then within DeFi, the illicit finance part of it is also such an even smaller segment of it. And so many of those issues are really cybersecurity issues. They are not issues related or inherent to DeFi technology. So for me, those are like the 2 biggest challenges that I see. It's like 1, people assume there's a gatekeeper. They assume there's an intermediary somewhere. And 2, they just think that illicit finance is like the biggest problem to solve. And it is a big problem. It's just not the biggest problem. It's not the only thing that we should be focused on.
Mm-hmm. Amanda, you mentioned control, and much of the House's Clarity Act involves assessing whether a protocol is under common control or not. If we don't get market structure and a lot of this stuff, well, I guess if we do get market structure, a lot of this stuff will be kicked to the SEC and to the agencies to write rules anyway. Would you say the SEC is kind of equipped to write rules on this stuff? And will there be challenges, do you see, in administrating those rules? I mean, it's a tough subject.
It's the toughest subject, yes. And like my definition of control or what I think DeFi is could be different from what another person thinks. Even within my team, like we have ongoing debates about whether things are decentralized and what does it mean.
Right.
And I think there is nobody better positioned right now than the SEC Crypto Task Force. Like every member of the task force we have worked with really understands the tech and wants to get it right. So, to the extent that it's within their jurisdiction at the SEC, right, they deal in securities. So to the extent that it's within their jurisdiction, I think they're very well positioned to do rulemaking on something like tokenized securities, which could provide a ton of clarity especially if they want to explain how tokenized securities could be traded in other places, including in DeFi, right? So there's ways that we can get clarity for DeFi, even if it's really going to be a rulemaking about tokenized securities. But I do think the SEC is well positioned. I am really hopeful that the CFTC will end up being well positioned once they have everybody in place that they need to. But like they're asking the right questions, and I think that's really important. Like there's been a really solid show of trying to figure this out before making rules, which is, I think, the model that everyone should follow. Like understand the tech before you try to regulate it.
I also have a question, Amanda, on the front of like timelines for your team and others that are working on initiatives in DC. Like, obviously, under this current administration, it's very pro.
Okay, we are back. We are back. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for that little break. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting chat going on. People saying Captain Stryker entered the chat after I took a little break, says it's wise to ignore anyone using the term boomer. They're likely infantile. You know, I mean, it's got its, well, there are actual boomers to say, you know, to be clear. I mean, like my dad and my mom are in that generation for sure. But yeah, I think calling it a boomer coin is a little silly in my opinion. I don't think it's bad. You know, it's not a bad thing for if it is a boomer coin, I guess, right? Like it means it's doing important stuff. It's mature. You know, that's fine. Let's see. Greenblade Alka says, speaking of Algorand agents, has Nyla been released and can she use my NFD? Yeah, I've actually gotten payments through it. It's a little confusing because you have to actually send it. I think you have to make a new wallet or something. I don't know. But you can have Nyla do it. So I just have to have Nyla. It's interesting. We maybe can try that out toward the end of the stream, actually, once we get through our Hedera segment. Captain Striker says, Algo no doubt has some great tech dev on the horizon. There still are better coins to speculate on. Oh yeah, for speculation, for sure. You know, listen, I will crap on Solana's tech all day long. I think it's pretty much garbage. Failed transactions. It's been down a bunch of times. Lots of MEV going on that chain. Just a lot of problems with it. But I'll tell you what, I bought it when it was $20 and it's like almost $200 now. So definitely made a 10x on that. I am not complaining about that. Green Blue Algo says Algorand is more Gen X, very competent, but often overlooked. That is 100% true. Every Gen X feels that one. Let me tell you. Captain Striker saying, indeed, DCA into Zcash. Agreed, but most real boomers are getting on in ages. Bless them. Yeah. When we say boomers, I mean, like the idea of a coin actually being a boomer coin, like no boomers are buying. Like maybe some of them are buying Bitcoin, but most of them, they want nothing to do with crypto. I mean, I had a talk with my dad about crypto and, you know, he was, for his credit, he was curious. He asked a bunch of questions and, you know, at the end of the day, just wasn't into
Get a
it. I'm
bill
like, that's cool. I respect that. You know, not for everybody, but I appreciate that he took the time to ask questions and learn about it, decided it wasn't for him. I respect that. So, yeah, we'll start our Hedera segment. So, you know how these segments go. And I know the chat's always a little behind. So there's not really a good way for me to deal with that. But once I start the segment, I'm not going to talk about, you know, anything else except the segment stuff in the segment. So if it's related to Hedera, I'll bring it up. If it's not, then, you know, we'll just wait till after my segment is over, but lots of good stuff. So, okay, we're going to start the Hedera segment right now. So you guys know I've been talking about the future of crypto and AI and why I think agents are really going to be the best use case for crypto, or at least one of the best use cases. Well, Hedera has been making huge strides in this area. They have been launching numerous studios related to agents and AI in general to help developers develop AI tools on chain. Well, they just announced Hedera, the Hashgraph Online DAO, just announced an agentic hub to connect agents, MCP systems, and data brokers across every major protocol. I think this is huge news, and it's absolutely worth diving into. So let's just check this out. And this is from Hashgraph Online DAO. They say, we just launched Registry Broker, the first agentic hub connecting agents, MCP systems, and data brokers across every major protocol. One API to query any agent registered anywhere. The future of agent communication starts now. That is wild. Yeah, a lot of people celebrating that. I kind of want to read a little more about this. So let's dive in a little deeper here. Actually, maybe we'll stick with this. Hashgraph Online marks a significant milestone in the world of agent communication with the alpha launch of their registry broker. The innovative platform sets a new standard as the first agentic hub designed to streamline connections between agents, model context protocol systems, and data brokers. This is setting the underneath layer, the underlying layer for agents and crypto. Very cool. Hashgraph's online registry broker is live. Our alpha launch marks the first agentic hub of communication designed to connect agents. We just read that already. Unlimited protocol integration. So the registry broker represents a breakthrough in protocol compatibility, offering seamless integration across major protocols and registries. I feel like I'm reading this and I'm not getting much out other than this is basically maybe it's like the operating layer, the directly operating layer for all these agents. Agent to agent payments is going to be huge. We know Hedera is working on it. We know Algorand's working on it. The system maintains an up-to-date directory of active agents, complete with their capabilities and protocol specifications. Well, we definitely want to check this out when it's live, because this sounds awesome. And by the way, we're reading this on Genfinity. I literally like these guys. King Solomon from there is an awesome dude. Definitely a mutual follow on X, and we actually chat a bit every once in a while. And so, great article from Genfinity. You should definitely go check it out and check out all their great work. Meanwhile, we will go back to more Hedera news. This is right from the Hedera Foundation. On other chains, high fees prohibit yield aggregation on smaller positions. Hedera's low fixed fees ensures that auto compounding makes economic sense for all users. Important aspect there. Hedera was built from the ground up to support institutional grade DeFi, from the HTS to HCS to the highly scalable EVM. Teams are building next generation protocols to leverage the full range of network services. Hedera's unique architecture and broad range of services flips this, enabling industry first mover advantages for institutional grade DeFi protocols. Today, we're seeing some of these DeFi breakthroughs migrate from theory to practice on Hedera. Upcoming technical developments will eliminate transaction costs for gas-free perpetual futures trading. Other semi-regulated protocols will enable compliant trading and navigate regulatory requirements from day one. Automatic AI-driven investment tools will bring institutional-grade strategies to everyday users, and HIP 1249 estimated to 10x, 20x increase smart contract throughput. We got order books that actually work. Hedera consensus service to process orders quickly. This is kind of a big breakdown of why Hedera is great. Here we go. Pool tokens, the latest breakthrough on Hedera with ArchX, represents shares in diversified, automatically rebalanced portfolios. So there's like a ton of stuff here. We're not going to read all this, but this is, if you really want to deep dive into Hedera and why you should care, this is definitely a thread worth reading. You can find it on the Hedera Foundation's page. That is Hedera FNDN on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Definitely worth reading, I think. By the way, I think this was pretty interesting. Reminder for Hedera developers starting in January 2026. I didn't know this, by the way. The consensus submit message price moves from 0.0001 cent to 0.0008 cents. Still well under a penny, by the way. Fixed. Is that less or more? How many zeros we got? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I had to double check just to make sure. Yeah, so price going up a little bit. And, we've been talking on Algorand why I think the price, the fee could go up a little bit while still maintaining still being very competitive. So, Hedera's doing that. We've talked about this. I think we covered this on stream before. Really cool to see this though. And I'm kind of curious. We'll see what the impact is if people complain about it. Sano said, I forgot about this. Suppose I got to compare an 8x increase to Wall's capabilities and crunch some numbers now. Predictable fees build trust. Predictable yield builds systems. 4 years, zero in gains. Management is a failure. Some people not so happy. I have a theory. That like every coins like maxis hate their foundation. Selling all my coins, bad investment. Bad investment, dude. I bought everything around 5 cents, and so I'm at, I'm still, even today, I'm up like what, 3x, a little over 3x. I was at like 4, almost 5x. So even higher, really. If you think about what happened before, but I don't think that's bad. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal, but we'll see. Maybe it will. Maybe there will be a much bigger impact than I think there's going to be. This is from Mingo, which is bringing the crypto to the masses, wallet, ticket, launch, gaming, powered, all kinds of stuff. Just doing everything. Mingo chose Hedera for one reason: reliability at scale. Ticketing needs speeds, fairness, and trust with predictable fees, real-time finality, and verifiable ownership. Hedera delivers. It's why industries are choosing and will choose Hedera. Mingo, big fan. You haven't really looked into what they do. But the idea is, it looks like Mingo is spot on with their innovative Web3 experience with buying tickets online. Well, if that's what they're doing, why don't they just put that here? That should be the big thing that they put in their Twitter bio. I should follow them for sure. I'll give them a follow here. But good for Mingo. I think, yeah, taking on Ticketmaster, I think that's awesome. So if they can do this with Hedera, well played, in my opinion. Absolutely. One of my big pet peeves in crypto is like poor explanations. And if that's your main thing, that you are making like Web3 ticketing, put it right here. Put it in the bio. That's all I'm saying. And then, yeah, we got one more thing here. Well, maybe two, actually. This is from our partners, Genfinity. Well, they're not partners, but our friend of the channel, Generation Infinity, or Genfinity. The Middle East's largest sustainability and digital transformation leader, BIA Group, has launched ID Trust with Hashcraft Group. Hedera providing powered identity for enterprise, government, and smart city services across the UAE. Yeah, I got mixed feelings about this, because what I want to see with government is transparency on their end, not transparency on our end. Like, I want everything on government to be on chain so we can track what they're doing. Now, I don't personally care what the UAE is doing because I don't live there. I guess I care a little bit, but as a citizen of the US, I want to see what the US is doing. I want to see that the US is spending our money wisely, and we can track that if it's all on chain. So that's where I think it should be. I should give them a follow. I'll start following more Hedera folks, but yeah, it's neat. It's neat that they're doing that, I guess. Like I said, some of that stuff just makes me a little nervous. And then this is from Tata. Breaking Yield FX is launching Flex, a decentralized FX exchange built on Hedera. For the first time, retail investors can access tokenized interest-bearing FX deposits available in real time. Carry trades and yield strategies once reserved for institutions. Single-sided liquidity provisioning with extra yield and no impermanent loss. Well, I like that. I like the sound of no impermanent loss. Definitely something I would have to look into more. Powered a hybrid liquidity model, on-chain AMM plus off-chain institutional LPs. That's interesting. Flex aims to tighten spreads, deepen liquidity, and tap into a 165 billion Indian diaspora deposit market. I don't know what diaspora deposit market means. There's a lot I'll have to look into. I'll give them a follow. Definitely want to... Definitely worth checking out, and I always think there's like some really interesting stuff. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. Maybe there's some good strategies to be had there. Greenblatt Algo says 40 billion to Argentina. Hope they buy Bitcoin with it. Wasn't it 20 billion? I thought it was 20 billion that they were sending over there, or did they send more now? Huh. Yeah, perfect example. With the USAID stuff, like if it was on chain, we'd easily be able to track, and we could probably pick, oh, this one wasn't so good, that one's okay, instead of like having to kind of cut across the board and hope you got everything you wanted to get, and then maybe cutting out some stuff that actually was good. I think if it was on chain, we could see it more readily. Okay. Well, that is our Hedera segment. So thank you for tuning into that. You know, one thing I forgot about is like I have all this sauce. I ought to be staking that sauce to earn more whatever. So definitely going to look into that after stream, I think, because I'm a big fan of saucer swap, and we didn't have any saucer swap news, but we did in our last segment. So, well, guys, I really appreciate everyone tuning in today. I had a nice little audience, and got the numbers up today. I like to see that. It's we had quite the little crash, and I think those are, I really find those when you have flash crashes like that, they rarely sustain. Although I see we're going back down a little bit now, still above 106.5 on Bitcoin though. So I think I think we'll be okay. You know, to me, if you're accumulating, then dips are great because you can just buy more. If you're looking for sell off, you know, you're looking for taking profits, obviously, you just got to sit tight through some of those. But I took profits. My portfolio is completely de-risked, so it can go to zero and I'd still be in profit. Not by very much, but I wouldn't have lost money. So it's nice to be in that position where you know you can't lose. Okay, so anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope everyone's doing well out there. Stay safe. You know, just grin and bear it. Sometimes doing nothing is actually the best thing you can do in investment. So